Hello and welcome to our School at Home class in English Grade 7. We are in the second quarter of our set of lessons, and I hope everybody will delight in learning today with lesson number 12. Our topic is about analogy. For a start, do the following exercise. You can pause this video if you will need more time. Press play again when you've finished with the activity and when you are ready to proceed with the lesson. The following are pair of words. Identify the relationship for each item presented. Choose from the options inside the parentheses. Encircle your answer. Number 1. Criminal is to jail as patient is to hospital. Is the relationship a function or synonyms? Number 2. Rock is to heavy as feather is to light. Is the relationship qualities or instrument? Number 3. Wind is to windmill as sun is to solar panel. Is the relationship function or symbol? Number 4. Red is to love as white is to purity. Is the relationship a symbol or instrument? And number 5. Bed is to sleeping as chair is to sitting. Is the relationship antonyms or function? Here are the answers. Number 1. The relationship of the pairs of words is function. Number 2. The relationship is qualities. Number 3. The relationship is also function. Number 4. The relationship is symbol. And finally, number 5. The relationship is function. Previously, you have learned the prosodic features of speech, such as juncture or phrasing, which is the form of intonation that characterizes the flow of one sound to the next sound while speaking. Another prosodic feature of speech you have previously learned was the rate of speech that shows how fast or slow you say your words. Your speech rate communicates much to your audience. These prosodic features affect how you deliver your speech to your audience and will greatly help in communicating and understanding each other. These prosodic features help us to explain things and communicate well with others. But in explaining things and concepts to somebody and to put our point across to our audience, we use analogy. An analogy is something that shows how two things are alike, and its purpose is not merely to show, but also to explain. For this reason, an analogy is more complex and usually has additional information to get our point across. Here is an example of analogy. Consider this analogy that meant to communicate futility or uselessness. What you're doing is as useful as rearranging deck of chairs in the Titanic. Here, the speaker is using simile to compare the task being done to the task of rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. But the ultimate goal is not just to compare one task to another, it is to compare that the first task is useless by comparing it to similarly useless tasks such as rearranging deck chairs on a ship that famously sank into the sea on its maiden voyage. Analogies that identify identical relationships. The modern word analogy actually comes from the ancient Greek word for proportionality. And Greek scholars used analogies to directly illustrate similar relationships between two pairs of words, often for the purpose of logical argument. These analogies take the form of A is to B as C is to D. An example of an analogy that identifies an identical relationship is black is to white as on is to off. In this example, the relationship between black and white, that they are antonyms or opposites, is exactly comparable to the relationship between on and off. On and off are also opposites. Remember that analogy is an agreement, similarity, or connection in the meaning of words. The first pair in analogy should have the same relationship in the second pair. The first example should be read as antibiotic is to bacteria as vaccine is to virus, while the second example should be read as healthy is to happy as sickness is to stressed. The symbol colon means is to, the symbol double colon means as. Here are more examples of analogies and the relationship they presented. Number 1, antonyms. Words in the analogy have opposite meaning. Example, fat is to thin as healthy is to sickly. Number 2, synonyms. Words in the analogy have the same meaning. Example, wealthy is to rich as poor is to impoverished. Number 3, general to specific or vice versa, in which one word names something that falls into the group named by the other. Example, banana is to fruit as pork is to meat. Number 4, qualities, interests, traits, or skills. One word in the analogy that talks about the characteristics or ability unique to the other term. Example, optometrist is to eyes as dermatologist is to skin. Number 5, part and whole. One word in the analogy is a part or piece of the other. Example, hair is to head as pages is to book. Number 6, instruments. One word is used by the other to do a job. Example, physician is to stethoscope as soldier is to gun. Number 7, steps in a process. One word is a step in the process. Example, cooking is to serving as editing is to publishing. Number 8, cause and effect. One word tells why the other word occurred. Example, stay home is to safety as loitering is to danger. Number 9, function. One word tells what the other word is used for. Example, medicine is to cure as poison is to kill. Number 10, products and raw materials. One word tells what the other is made of. Example, silk is to scarf as wool is to sweater. Number 11, symbol and what it represents. One word tells what the other word symbolizes. Example, barong is to Philippines as kimono is to Japan. You will find word analogies or verbal analogies used in standardized tests and sometimes in job interviews where you must show the relationship between two objects or concepts using logic and reasoning. These analogies are set up in a standard format. This analogy is read as skeletal system is to bones as respiratory system is to lungs. This analogy highlights the relationship between the whole, skeletal system, and the respiratory system, and its parts, the bones and the lungs. On tests of logic, one portion of the analogy is left blank, and students are left to choose an answer that makes sense to complete the comparison. For example, dog is to puppy as cat is to blank. To solve the analogy, you must first determine the relationship between dog and puppy. Once you realize that a puppy is a baby dog, you can find the corresponding relationship for a cat. A baby cat is a kitten. So, the completed analogy is dog is to puppy as cat is to kitten. Though there is no limit to the possibilities when it comes to word analogies, here are some examples to familiarize yourself with the concept. Let's practice doing the next activity. Identify the relationship of the pairs of words in each item. Choose from the choices given inside the parentheses. Hammer is to nail, as comb is to hair. Is it instrument or function? Next, white is to black, as up is to down. Is the relationship antonyms or synonyms? Another is, mansion is to shack, as yacht is a dinghy? Is it quality or steps or a process? How about bees is to hive as bears is to den? Is the relationship location or product? Next is chef is to food as sculptor is to stone. Is it interests, skills, or symbol? How about like is to love as dislike is to hate? Is it synonyms or cause and effect? Let us check your answer. What relationship each pair of analogy has to give? Here's the answer to your activity. Hammer is to nail as comb is to hair. The relationship is instrument. The hammer is used to hit the nail as the comb is used to brush one's hair. On the other hand, white is to black as up is to down. The relationship of the pairs of words is antonyms because they are opposites. While the analogy mentioned is to shack as yacht is to dinghy, show quality. The next pair of analogy is bees is to hive as bears is to den. The relationship of these pairs of words is location. Bees stay in the hive while bears live in their den. Another is chef is to food as sculptor is to stone. It shows interests or skills, while like is to love as dislike is to hate, show a synonymous relationship. Read and answer the following activities carefully and honestly. You can pause this video if you will need more time. Press play again when you're ready to proceed. Activity number 1. Read each item carefully, then identify the relationship of each analogy. Write your answers in your note. What is the relationship of these pairs of words? Number 1. Philippines is to Asia as Germany is to Europe. Number 2. Freedom is to slavery as educated is to ignorant. Number 3. Baguio is to summer capital of the Philippines as Cebu is to Queen City of the South. Number 4. Navy is to ships as Air Force is to jets. Number 5. Exercise is to gym as it is to restaurant. Let us check your answers in your activity number 1. What relationship each pair of analogy has to give? Here's your answer. Number 1. Philippines is to Asia as Germany is to Europe. The relationship is part whole. For the Philippines is part of Asia as Germany is part of Europe. Number 2. Freedom is to slavery as educated is to ignorant. The relationship is antonyms. For the meaning of each pair is opposite. Number 3. Baguio is the summer capital of the Philippines as Cebu is the Queen City of the South. The relationship is symbol. For each city symbolizes something. Number 4. Navy is to ships as Air Force is to jets. The relationship is instrument as Navy uses ships and Air Force uses jets in their operations. And number 5. Exercise is to gym as to eat is to restaurant. The relationship is function. In the gym is where we do the exercise and we eat in the restaurant. Activity number 2. Supply the missing part of the analogy. Look for the relationship of the first pair before deciding as to what word to supply on the blank. Number 1. Spin is to dizzy as starve is to blank. Number 2. Time is to clock as temperature is to blank. Number 3. Nonagon is to shape as green is to blank. Number 4. Pages is to book as bristles is to blank. Number 5. Cane is to sugar as cocoa is to blank. Let us check your answers in your activity number 2. What is the missing part of the analogy? Here's the answer. Number 1. Spin is too dizzy, as starved is too hungry. Number 2. Time is to clock, as temperature is to thermometer. Number 3. Nonagon is to shape, as green is to color. Number 4. Pages is to book, as bristles is to brush. And number 5. Cane is to sugar, as cocoa is to chocolate. Activity number 3. Choose the pair of words that best express a relationship similar to that of the original pair. Then write the bridge sentence or sentences to the right. Bridge type is type or kind. What pair of words that best express a relationship similar to number 1, blizzard is to storm? Is it letter A, novelist is to writer? Or letter B, boat is to submarine? Letter C, radio is to television? Or letter D, organization is to party? The bridge sentence is, a blizzard is to a type of storm, so a blank is a type of blank. Bridge type is other. What pair of words that best express a relationship similar to number 2? Carnivore is to meat. Is it letter A, vegetarian is to wheat? Or letter B, herbivore is to plants? Or letter C, omnivore is to food? Or letter D, vegan is to pastries? The bridge sentence is, a carnivore eats only meat. Then what is the bridge sentence of the next pair? The bridge type is definition. What pair of words best express a relationship similar to number 3? Honest is to sincere. Is it letter A, solitary is to alone? Or letter B, peaceful is to nervous? Or letter C, vengeful is to forgiving? Or letter D, religious is to doubtful? The bridge sentence is, by definition, someone who is honest is also sincere. Therefore, the blank is the bridge sentence of the second pair. The bridge type is function. What pair of words best express a relationship similar to number 4? Academy is to educate. Is it letter A, court is to blame? Or letter B, trailer is to roam? Or letter C, jail is to imprison? Or letter D, cafe is to ingest? So what are the bridge sentences? The bridge type is type or kind. What pair of words best express the relationship similar to number 5? Rectangle is to shape. Is it letter A, dealer is to employer? Or letter B, deer is to antelope? Letter C, telephone is to call? Or letter D, assault is to crime? Then what are the bridge sentences? Let us check your answers in your activity number 3. What pair of words best express a relationship similar to that of the original pair? Write the bridge sentences to the right. Here's the answer to your activity number 3. Number 1 is letter A. A blizzard is a type of storm involving ice and snow. A novelist is a type of writer who writes novels. Therefore, A is correct. Number 2 is letter B. A carnivore is any creature that eats only meat. An herbivore is any creature that eats only plants. Therefore, B is correct. Number 3 is letter A. By definition, someone who is solitary is also alone. Therefore, A is correct. Number 4 is letter C. The purpose of an academy or school is to educate people. The purpose of a jail is to imprison people. Therefore, C is correct. Number 5 is letter D. A rectangle is a type of shape with 4 parallel sides. An assault is a type of crime that involves harming another person's body. Therefore, D is correct. For the wrap-up, write down 3 things you have remembered 2 examples of what you have learned and 1 question you have about the lesson. Analogy is a very essential part of critical thinking. To think creatively, a person needs to understand well the concept before making a decision. The purpose of an analogy is to give additional information to get the point across, to be well understood. Look for an analogy that explains a point. Example, life is like a box of chocolates. You'll never know what you're gonna get. This is from the movie Forrest Gump. Another example is given by Mayor Vico Soto, making an analogy about mass testing, comparing it to mass wedding. Read and answer the post-test carefully and honestly. You can pause this video if you will need more time. Press play again when you're finished with the test and when you're ready to proceed. Identify the relationship for each set of analogy. Encircle the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. Knife is to cut, as ruler is to measure. What is the relationship of this pair? Is it letter A, antonyms, letter B, cause and effect, letter C, function, or letter D, synonyms? Number 2. Milk is to cow, as egg is to hen. What is the relationship of this pair? Is it letter A, cause and effect, B, product, letter C, symbol, or letter D, synonyms? Number 3. Toe is to foot, as finger is to hand. What is the relationship of this pair? Is it letter A, cause and effect, letter B, part and whole, letter C, product, or letter D, synonyms? Number 4. Sun is to hot, as snow is to cold. So what is the relationship of this pair? Is it letter A, cause and effect, letter B, part and whole, letter C, product, or letter D, symbol? Number 5. Big is to giant, as small is to dwarf. What is the relationship of this pair? Is it letter A, cause and effect, letter B, product, letter C, quality, or letter D, symbol? Here's the answer to your post-test. Number 1 is letter C, function, because a knife is used to cut, as ruler is used to measure. Therefore, letter C is correct. Number 2 is letter B, product, for milk is from cow, while egg is from hen. Therefore, letter B is correct. Number 3 is letter B, part whole, because toe is part of the foot and finger is part of your hand. Therefore, letter B is correct. Number 4 is letter A, cause and effect. The sun is hot as snow is cold. Therefore, letter A is correct. Number 5 is letter C, qualities. The giant is big and the dwarf is small. Therefore, letter A is correct. And that ends our lesson on using analogy to describe or make a point. Congratulations for completing lesson number 12, the second quarter. Goodbye!